Hi everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Deborah. My friends call me Deb. And this is Tuesday evening, September the 2nd, 2019. I don't name my podcast episodes. I don't give them episodes numbers. And most of you who have viewed my videos realize that at this point. I would like to say thank you to those of you who have reached out to me since my last podcast and have subscribed to my podcast channel. I am so appreciative. I actually spent the weekend seriously considering not doing this anymore, and I realize that everything takes time. But I thought, there's just bukus of YouTubers out there that do podcasts and vlogs. And, there's obviously tons of, knitting related ones and yarn related ones and crochets podcasts. And I was just another number in the mix of many, many before me. And I thought, nobody seems to be really responding to any of my videos, so maybe this isn't meant for me. And then in the last 2 days, I've had 5 or 6 people reach out to me and say, hello, I've subscribed to your channel. I look forward to meeting you. And you have no idea how much that meant to me, because I really was ready to just say, hey, my little videos are so basic. I don't edit. I actually just downloaded some editing software from Play Store onto my tablet, and I'm going to actually try playing with it with this video and seeing if I can do a little introduction with some music and a little title, and see if I can put it together and not manage to make a total mess of it and totally ruin this video. So with that being said, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and giving me a shout out. I really appreciate it. For lack of better words to use, it just literally warmed the cockles of my heart. And I'm sure if you're in my generation, you've probably heard that saying before. I was going through some of the podcasts that I view on a pretty regular basis, and I do have some favorites. I know that all of us that are out there in YouTube land, we have certain ones that we tend to lean towards. And I thought, I never make any notes and I don't have any administration stuff. First of all, I will say this. My name is Deborah. I live in Florida. I live in a small town. We have a large land mass here, but we don't have a whole lot of people. I live within the city of the town that I live in, and there's about 7,500 people within the city limits. I've been here all my life. I was born in the north and raised in the south, so I'm a Yankee-born Southerner. But anyhow, I don't edit my videos because I don't know anything about editing software, and as I said, I just downloaded some, so I'm going to play with it and see how it turns out. I cannot be found anywhere on the internet. I don't do any social media. No tweeting, no twittering, no Instagram, none of that things. I do use Ravelry, but I only use it for my personal use to look for patterns and yarn requirements and things of that nature. So the only place you're going to find me is on YouTube. I don't understand how YouTubers can keep up with all the different media outlets for people to be able to contact them on. It's like, my goodness, when do you have time to do anything other than managing your YouTube video channel and making videos and uploading them? And how do you reply to everybody if you've got Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and whatever other media apps are out there and available for people to reach out to people with? And I'm like, no, I do this on my tablet, sometimes on my cell phone, and I don't have a laptop or a desktop computer. I can't imagine the amount of hours that a lot of people spend on doing this, and I can't imagine it being fun. If it starts feeling like a job and it's taking up the majority of my time to just be able to come and sit with you and visit with you and talk with you and show you what I do, and hopefully you'll give me some input on what you'd like to know my thoughts on, or see things that I do, or show me things that you do. I just can't imagine doing all the other things that so many podcasters do, and it continue to be pleasurable and a source of fun. And I want it to be pleasurable and a source of fun. So, in my other videos, I've said, if this ever starts feeling like a job, I won't do it anymore. I don't get any monetary rewards from this. Nobody is sponsoring me. I'm obligated to absolutely no one but me. So, that being said, whatever views or opinions that I put out here on my channel, they are strictly mine. Nobody's paying me to say them. There's no reward for me saying them. In fact, knowing my luck, my opinions will end up costing me money somewhere along the line, which would be horrible. But anyhow, with that being said, I'm going to move on. Some of the YouTube podcasts that I watch, I actually wrote down because my memory fails me sometimes. And I wanted to, just give a shout out to these individuals. There's the Bakery Bears, Kay and Dan Jones. I've been watching them for a while now, and I so enjoy them. And Dan, if you ever see this podcast, I'd like to say that I really enjoy the adventures that you and Kay go on, and the tours that you give with the historical accounts of the various countryside over there in the area that you live in. For those who don't know the Bakery Bears, they're a husband and wife, and they both knit, and Kay designs patterns, and she's put out some beautiful sock patterns that I've really enjoyed. And they also have a little cooking thing where they do a thing with desserts, making desserts. But they're across the pond, and I have so enjoyed watching their podcasts. The other one is Leslie Arnold. She has not quite enough yarn. And Leslie, I have enjoyed your videos. You also are across the pond, and it's just refreshing. Your video is very refreshing, and I get tickled. And I thoroughly enjoy the fact that you go outside of the box. You don't think that it's wrong to not have enough yarn and substitute it with a different color. You're my kind of girl. You are a scrappy knitter. Whatever you need to do to make it work, you get the job done, and that's refreshing. It really is. You don't let the yarn dictate to you. You're the boss of your yarn, and that's the way it should be with all of us who crochet and knit. There's also a couple podcasters in the Canada area. One is Sandy by the lakeside. And Sandy, I do enjoy your podcast. I enjoy seeing the things that you make. And your videos I find to be calming and relaxing to me. So, thank you. I appreciate that. And then there's the Grocery Girls, who are sisters, Tracy and Jody. I get tickled at y'all. I do enjoy your podcasts, and I enjoy the adventures that y'all have and the things that y'all talk about. There are a couple more. There's 3 more. And this next group is here in the United States. And these 2 gals are friends. And I think it's just awesome that they have each other and they're knitting friends, and they enjoy each other's friendship so much, and they're knitting. And it's the Naughty Knitwits, and it's Michelle and Leslie. And I have really enjoyed listening to you gals talk, and your sense of humor, and just your banter back and to, and seeing the projects that you're working on and your finished objects. And Michelle, you and your husband Michael have moved. And he drug you to the country. Oh my God, I know it's been culture shock for you. And you've been videoing it and have given it the name Knitwit in the Sticks, and I absolutely love it. And I think it's just incredible that your husband, just gets right in there with you and lets you video him, and he makes comments and things of that nature. It's great. And you know what? I gave you a little response on your last one when you were talking about your hair. You're having such a tough time with well water. I lived for 30 years in the country with well water, and I unfortunately had iron water, and I had blonde hair. And the iron not only played havoc with my bathroom fixtures and my white laundry, but it played havoc with the blonde on my hair, because the blonde and the white fabric, anything white, the iron would just cling to, and it was just a nightmare. I think, however, you may have sulfur water and it smells like rotten eggs, and it's its whole other nightmare alone. But well water is tough, and it's tough on our hair, and it's tough on our hair if we color our hair. And, I know you're trying to embrace gray, and you're trying to embrace, this stage of your life, and I get it, because I am fixing to turn 61, and I am trying to embrace the gray, and, I've got a lot of it, and it may not look like it on here, but when I wash it, it's like a neon light just glaring at me, and I'm trying to gently ease myself into becoming gray, but I think I'm going to color the hair back to blonde. I'm not quite ready for it, but I did get my hair cut, and I got it cut short, not intentionally, but accidentally, because the beautician didn't listen to what I said to her. So, I'm growing into this haircut, and I'm beginning to actually like it, and it's certainly easy to maintain, and it's wash, fluff, and it dries like in 3 minutes just by air drying it or sitting in front of the fan. But try a really sassy haircut. I bet you would be just adorable and sassy in a shorter haircut. It'll make you feel like a whole new lady. And hey, color your hair. You want to color your hair? Color your hair. Go red, go blonde. Maybe you want to put a little bit of pink stripes in there. And leave the gray and just add some colors. Just a suggestion. It all depends upon how brave you are and how bold you are. The other one, and last but not least, and this podcast was probably one of the first podcasts that I stumbled upon on YouTube. And her name is Jay. Actually, that's not her name. Her name is Juanita. But her podcast, she goes by Jay's Knit and Pearl Jam. She's a lovely lady out of Atlanta, Georgia. She just celebrated her 72nd birthday. She knits and crochets. And she is so delightful. I listen to her, even if I don't watch her podcast, I'll listen to it while I'm knitting. And it's wonderful because hers is a very different podcast from most people's. She does a lot of pattern designs, but she's not your typical pattern designer. She takes a stitch that she finds in a stitch book and she turns it into what she wants it to be, whether it's a pullover top or a cardigan or a shawl or a hat or gloves. It's just wonderful, and she does it with crocheting and with knitting, and she has the two. Each one is separate. Her crocheting is separate from her knitting podcast. But she makes it so easy, and she teaches you how to find your numbers and how to design your own things. And I actually, until I watched her, I had never ventured into knitting anything other than a shawl or a hat or socks. And since watching her, I've knitted a cardigan for myself, and it was multicolor, and it was really cool because it's color blocked. And I happened to not have enough yarn of the same color, so I improvised and I did different colors and different panels, and it's really cute. And when I wear it out in public, I get lots of compliments on it, how people think it is just great and it's so unique, and I'm thrilled with it. And I actually knitted a couple other tops, sleeveless tops, and I have to wait until the fall time to wear them because I am in Florida, and ladies and gentlemen, it's hot, okay? As I said, today is September the 2nd. I'm here in Florida. I'm in North Florida. I'm in a little town just below Jacksonville, Florida, and we have been waiting on this hurricane for over a week. And thank you to all of our first responders and our emergency personnel and our weathermen who all keep us informed. But we have had such advance warning and time to prepare for a horrendous hurricane that would do just massive damage, but we've been waiting on it for over a week to arrive here, and it still hasn't arrived. And I pray, and a lot of other people are praying, that it does not hit Florida or any other states. And my God, it has just decimated the Bahamas and Puerto Rico. My heart just goes out to those people. But this has been like a long labor and birth and delivery of a baby, and it's just been exhausting. We've gone through our hurricane supplies food and had to go back out and buy more. So, I laugh, and I'm thankful that I can laugh about it. And you know, right now we're getting a little bit of rain and off and on gusts of wind that actually are a little bit cooler than what we've basically been having. So it's actually been a little refreshing, and we're as prepared as we can possibly be right now. And we're all just praying that this hurricane will, wobble its way out into the ocean and drown itself and not go anywhere else and not do any more destruction anywhere else. So, today, what did I do? I went to my sister's. Her middle son, she has 3 boys, and her middle son, it was his birthday today. He turned 21, and it was quite interesting. She did a really lovely job. It was just family, my mom and one of my aunts and my sister and her husband and boys. But she had saved just bukus of his baby clothes that he had when he was an infant, and all the awards that he'd gotten throughout the years. And he was artistic, and he drew a lot, and he built a lot of things. And we expect him to be an engineer, and I told him today I expect him to be the future Bill Gates. And he was quite surprised. But she had photographs, and she had his little baby outfits that she put him in when he was a newborn and came home from the hospital. She just had them all around the house. in the living room and dining room area, to just all laid out and put on boards for us to see. And it was just incredible, just absolutely incredible. And he's an incredible kid. And she said to him, she said, she says, I'm going to tell you something. She said, the day that you were born, when I went into labor with you, we were in a tropical storm at that time. So he was born during a tropical storm, and his 21 years later, on the day that he was born, we are underneath a hurricane watch. So that was kind of memorable thing to do. And I told him, I said, that, you're legal now. And I said, from here on out, the birthdays come quicker. And I said, before you know it, you'll be 41 and not 21, and you're going to be wondering what happened to those 20 years and where did they go? He laughed. He's young. He'll figure it out a little bit later on. He'll say, my Aunt Debbie was right. So, gals, last podcast I said, hey, I was working on the Ziggy shawl, and I haven't done any more on it. It's still sitting here in the corner. And why? Well, it's still sitting here in the corner because I decided to work on that leaf shawl that I found online and bought the pattern for. And it's long like a banana leaf. What can I say about it? I can say I was excited. It's knit out of Mandala line brand yarn. I bought it exactly. It was wonderful because, most patterns that you buy aren't written to be knitted or crocheted with, just, regular store-bought yarn that you can go into Walmart and buy. It's typically the really nice merino wool and cashmere and nylon and silk yarns. So this was nice. For $4.50, I could knit this really neat scarf. Yeah, I know. It ain't happening. Eventually, it's going to happen because I paid for that pattern, and I am not going to let it whip me. I am going to get my money's worth out of that pattern. But that daggum thing, I have not frogged it totally out once, not twice, not 3 times, but 5 times. And I finally, this last time, I was just like, I'm done. I'm just done. And, either my knitting skills aren't what I thought they were, or I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. But I'd go for rows and rows and rows, and I'd get one part of the leaf done, and I'd get the center vein going up in it just right, and I'd have the veins coming in from the side meeting the center perfectly. And suddenly, it'd be all wonky and out of whack. And I was like, what the heck? It was just, it was infuriating. It was to the point that where I was going to start saying ugly words, and I am not going to let something make me say ugly words and lose my religion, okay? So I just ripped it out, recaked the skein, found another pattern, and then that yarn is now becoming a really cute cowl that has a lacy leaf pattern knitted into it, which has yarn overs and slip 2 together and SSKs and the whole 9 yards, and I'm not having any problems with it. So I don't understand why I'm having a problem with this leaf scarf pattern. I just don't get it. So after fooling with that thing for a week and ignoring my Ziggy shawl, I'm done with that leaf scarf for now. And I'm going to move forward, and I'll come back and try it at a later date. But I have said before that I like knitting socks. Socks don't give me a problem usually. And so I've got a box of socks, okay? I mean, I have a box of socks. And it's one of those nice, the big boxes that you can get at Tuesday mornings or Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And, they're pretty and they're flowery and, they've got pretty designs on them. And the top comes up and they have the little magnetic thing on the flap of them. So anyhow, that's where I keep my socks, in one of those boxes. But I've gotten so many socks now, I've knit so many socks that my box won't hold them all, and so some of them are in my top drawer of my dresser. But I took a couple pairs of the socks out because I now have sock blockers, and I don't block my socks. I wear my socks. I don't feel the need to block them. But I bought some sock blockers because socks are easier to show if they're on blockers, so you can see if there's a design in them. And this is a sock, one of the earlier socks that I knitted that actually had a design in it, and I don't remember the name of this sock pattern. I really don't. I always want to call it Ziggy. And I do know where the pattern came from, though. I got the pattern off of Knitty.com. And it's a free pattern. All the patterns on Knitty.com are free. So that's where this pattern came from. And it was, it was fun to knit. It was my first actual sock that had a pattern on it. And they're knit top down. And then here's the other one. So, they're both the same, but the design is on the outside of the leg and not on the inside too. So I like those. And I knit them with Patton's sock yarn. Yeah, because it's woolly. And it feels woolly. It's coarse, but it doesn't bother my feet. So it's 75% wool and 25% nylon, and they're very comfortable on. The wool doesn't bother my feet at all. So the scratchiness of it. I have another one that I knit, and I don't remember the name of the pattern, or if it actually was a pattern, or it was something that I just picked up a stitch pattern out of my stitch book and just did it my own self. So, let's see. I'm going to try to put my light around here and see if it helps you to be able to see the designs. But it is a lacy design, and the lace starts up here at the cuff and goes all the way to just above the toe, and it goes across the top of the foot. It doesn't wrap all the way around the back of the leg. But I really enjoyed knitting these. It was a nice knit. And the yarn, what kind of yarn is this? I don't know. And I know that's not the answer that you want to have. You don't want to hear me say I don't know, but I really don't know. I don't remember, and I don't keep those ball bands and stuff. After a while I get rid of them, and I don't write stuff down to write what yarn I've used and what the name of the pattern is. I just do it. It's not a business. It's my hobby and my fun time. Okay, my next sock, and I've showed this sock before on a podcast a long time ago, and I really enjoyed this one. This is my little shorty sock. It's knit toe up, and it's knit with leftovers of sock yarn that I knit other socks out of. And I did 2 of them. I did a pair, and they're actually pretty much identical, which is pretty cool. And this was a Lion brand sock yarn. This is Sock Ease from Lion brand. This yarn right here is a sock yarn that I actually dyed. I think it was Lion brand Sock Ease, but it was in the white or the beige, and I hand dyed this one, and I was really tickled with the way it turned out. It was the first yarn dye that I ever did. And then all these other ones are just various sock yarns that I've used making other socks, and I call these my scrappy socks. And they were enjoyable knit. And of course, yes, I had a lot of tails to weave in, but that's okay. And actually, those first socks that I showed you, that I said came off of Knitty.com, this isn't Patons, this is Lion brand Sock Ease yarn in an olive green. It reminds me, the color of the green reminds me of army green for the soldiers. And then I have another one. I'm just going to show one. I'm not going to show both socks because you know what? They're identical. And you know, my screen isn't big enough and I'm not far enough away to be able to show both of them at the same time. But here's another one that I did. And I have started doing shorter legs on a lot of my socks, which is nice because it leaves me quite a bit of leftover sock yarn. But the other thing is I just find that I don't need a long leg on my socks, and I don't know if that's a growing older thing or what. But these, these were knit cuffed down because they got the partridge heel on them. So it was cuffed down, did the heel and heel flap and the toe. So it was knit 2 together on each side to get, to the toe point, and then however you do your toe. I don't do Kitchener stitch. I hate Kitchener. Okay. Yeah, it looks good, but it's just way more than what I want to have to think about when I go to do it. So I just keep decreasing until I get down to 6 stitches, and then I just cut the yarn and weave the end through and pull it through just like I do with a knitted hat up at the top. And my mother told me that actually when she was growing up, she was knitting by the age of 8, and she was born in Canada, and they knit socks, and they didn't have such a thing as sock yarn like we have today. They had just regular plied sock or regular plied yarn. And she said, they always just decreased down in the toes, and then when they got to 8 or 10 stitches, they just ran the tail of the yarn through there and pulled it tight, and weaved in the ends, and they were good to go. So the way we all do it nowadays is not the way it used to be done eons ago. And when I say eons ago, my mother's 83 years old, so we're talking 70 plus years ago. They weren't doing sock toes the way we do sock toes today. So anyhow, I'm not going to make this a really long podcast. I just wanted to, check in with everybody, and I may do another one this month. In fact, if I get anything accomplished, I will do that. But I wanted to say hello and thank you for the kind comments. Thank you for subscribing. I hope that each one of you out there had a wonderful and safe Labor Day weekend. And if anyone is in the path of the storm, I pray that each one of you will be safe. And just thank you. Thank you so much for everything. And if you like my podcast, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. At least I know that, hey, maybe I need to change something. And please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, and I will respond to you if you're looking for a response. And have a safe and happy week, people, and happy knitting, happy crafting, happy crocheting, and happy days. And I look forward to meeting with you again. And I'd like to know what's on your hooks, and what's your finished objects. What's something that you really have enjoyed doing and you've finished it? What's off your needles now? And feel free to leave that comment. Tell me what you finished or what you're working on in the comment section. I enjoy that. I enjoy having dialogue with people. I'm divorced, and my kids are grown, and they're scattered to the winds, and my grandchildren are scattered to the winds, so it's pretty much my kitty cat and me. So I enjoy conversation. My cat doesn't do very well speaking. She does well with meowing, but she's not really good with making it understandable for me as to what she's saying. So happy days, everyone. Happy knitting, happy crocheting, and thank you for spending a little bit of time with me and letting me share a little part of my life and my week with each one of you. And on that, I'm going to say goodbye and have a great, wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.